Good evening, friends. Welcome to my craft room. It's Sissy from Sissy's Cards and Crafts. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Eastern Ontario, Canada. Today I received the, what are we calling it? The new bundle, Homemade Sweetness Sweets Collection. A lot of sweetness. So what it has is the bundle of dies and stamps filled with sweetness. So they're now named the same thing. So we have filled with sweetness stamps and filled with sweetness dies. We'll take a look at them in a second. It also comes with this Ladybug Picnic 3D embossing folder. I don't know if you can see it here. We got all these lovely little ladybugs and little flowers in between. So that's pretty cute. Then it comes with these gems, and these gems have little strawberries on them, as well as strawberry slush and secret seed dots. They're called strawberries and dots. So they're quite flat, so great for mailing. Look quite cute. Also, we have this ribbon. I haven't opened it yet, so let's just open it to take a look at it. It is a double spool, so we've got 2 rounds of it. There is 9.1 meters. It's quite soft. It's this check or gingham sort of pattern. And it makes nice bows. It ties quite nicely, so that is quite sweet. I like that. I'm enjoying the ribbon. I've collected quite a bit of it. There's, it's nice to have a good selection. And when I was sewing it today, I'm doing a project. It's actually a little teddy bear and an Easter rabbit. And I'm like, oh, I'd like some ribbon to go on them. And I thought, oh, I've got ribbon up in the craft room. It doesn't have to be for cards. This will be great for sewing as well. And as I've shown before, I just take an elastic and I tie a little knot in it and put it around the ribbon. That way I can grab that knot, pull it off, and that's just going to hold my ribbon on there. This one's going to be a little trickier because it has the 2 rolls on it, but that's working well. And then, of course, it comes with the designer series paper, or in short, the DSP. And if you've seen any other demonstrators show this, they talk about it and how amazing it is. First off, from what I can see, the dies don't cut anything out. Like some of our designer series paper. I could be wrong on that, but I'm not really seeing dies that will do that. However, it's all pretty easy to fussy cut. Fussy cut is taking scissors or snips and actually cutting out, and you've got straight lines other than little bears, and they're pretty easy to cut out. So we have this one, and there's 2 of 6 different designs, I believe. So we have these paper, or this side A, all the jars, and then the strawberry slush kind of speckly looking side, which is cute. This I like. I like this sucker for this sort of coloring and this look. So these little spoons, and then the hearts on the back, and then this here basically is what the embossing folder looks like. If you couldn't see it, and it's clear, it's hard to see on camera, but this basically is what it is. So really sweet little pattern, and then it has this blue check on the back, or misty moonlight gingham on the back. And this floral one is really popular. Everybody seems to be making crafts with it. Looks really sweet. I quite like that as well. And somebody did point out, and of course you cannot see it on camera, and I get that, but this blue isn't a solid blue. It is like a denim sort of textury look to it, which adds a different dimension to it. And then we have this strawberry slush check, which is really sweet. a smaller one of the jars. So again, if you want a fussy cut, it's really quite easy to do. But all these like blueberry jam, mixed berry jam, orange marmalade, strawberry, raspberry, little honey. I think it's just really sweet. And then this at the back. I've seen some demonstrators actually do like a recipe card with this, which would be cool. Of course, there's other things to do. And a big draw for people to with Stampin' Up! Is to do scrapbooking. I think that's great. I admire that. It's not something I particularly care to do, but that would be good for your what did I just say? Doing your memory keeping and stuff with that. And then there's this one. And I did think that our blueberry and strawberry dies cut these out, but they don't. Again, if you want a fussy cut, it would be quite easy, but we have all of these lovely ones. And then there's a nice Misty Moonlight pattern on the back there that's very similar to the first one that we saw. So when you get your designer series paper, it always shows at the back here in this, it says here, and I still have the plastic on, so I apologize for the glare. But here it's saying, homemade sweetness, 12 by 12, designer series paper. And then it gives all of the colors that are within that. So we know what inks to use. So here we have Calypso Coral, Crushed Curry, Granny Apple Green, Misty Moonlight, Secret Sea, and Strawberry Slush. So these, of course, in different variations, some of it is quite a bit lighter, so they've stamped off, and it might not look quite like the same color, but these are the colors, so you can coordinate. Of course, you don't have to have all of them to coordinate, and there are other colors that will coordinate, but it just gives you a good starting point to go from, right? Now, the stamps and dies. So this was quite a thing, and I'm quite excited to actually try this. These stamps, so again, photopolymer stamps are all that Stampin' Up! Is doing at the moment, just because of the ability to get the red rubber. So they're just doing photopolymer stamps. I don't know if this color underneath helps you see, but we've got these different stamps here, and they're quite large. So if you look on here, like obviously this is all of the stamps, but you can see the size difference. It often says, and I don't see it on here, the percentage of what this picture is of the real die. So this is quite a large die. You have to use our largest block or the new Stampin' Positioner for this. And so that's one of the things that I thought was really cool. I kind of liked that idea of that. So we have You're the Sweetest, Love You Very Much, Homemade for You, Thank You, a little heart, blueberries, and a strawberry, and then this lovely little design here, which is quite sweet. And that color, of course, is our Strawberry Slush, which is the in color for last year. So it will still be around for another year. The other in colors will be retiring. So that's, I might do another video on those soon, but apparently a lot of them are already out of stock or low inventory. Here is the dies. So let's again look at how big they are. Like here is this jar, and you'll see that it's double. So what I want to do tonight is actually just make like a note card out of this. And then we have this nice topper that's going to go on the top. You can have it either look like it's open, or you can have it with this topper on it. And then these lovely label dies, which are so sweet. I think they're just really very versatile. I love the size of them. I mean, this could even be a tag as well. But very, very versatile, just these tags. And here are strawberry and blueberries. So you can see that on that designer series paper, they were much smaller than that. So these are a pretty good size. A couple little flowers. Here we have some twine that's supposed to go around your jar. Well, probably here at this point. And then a ribbon you can put, or a bow rather, you can put on it. And then you have a handle, which is, you can use this piece here to put on your jar. So if you had this, these always stick really well when you first get them. So you've got your opening to the jar, and then you can make it so it, or rather you can have an actual opening to the jar there, or you can put the top on like this as kind of a metal top for it. So there's different things to do. Haven't played with it. Like I said, just received it today. So I thought we would, on camera, just maybe make like a little note card with this die and the stamp, decorate it up just to see how cool it really is. You will need your big stamp cut and emboss machine for this. The little mini one will not do for this big die. For the rest of them it would, but this one is just not going to fit. So first thing is we're going to use, I'm going to cut this piece of white down in half. So I only need half of it. So if we go along this, we have an 11.5 or 8.5 by 11. So it's going to be 5.5. We're going to cut down the middle to get half a card. And then that leaves me with the other. And again, this trimmer is awesome. Makes it so easy to make your cuts. I've got perfect half. The lines aren't all crooked. There's a lot of benefits to our trimmer. So I can do this a couple ways, and there's a couple different, thought processes. Is, do you stamp first or do you die cut first? I think with this one, I'm going to die cut first, just simply because it is large, and I'm going to use the new Stampin' Positioner to do the stamping. So just to reduce a little bit of bulk, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn around because my machine is behind me. My chair's squeaky, so just give me a second, and I will cut this. Feel free to, if you're watching this, please let me know where you're watching from. Say hi. I appreciate every view that I have, and I would love to get some comments and some feedback. Anything that you have to offer would be awesome. I'm going to keep that because we might be able to use that for something. Got a couple ideas already, but let's just put this back. And now I never get these back in the same way, and you'll notice it's already bent. These narrow dies do bend. This doesn't damage their ability to do their job, but it can be a little bit unnerving to see something you've invested in start to bend. All right, so then we have our stamp. And like I said, I'm going to bring in the new Stampin' Positioner just because it is nice and large, and I can get this whole die on here, or stamp on here. Now, be mindful when you're pulling this off that it is like it's not a solid stamp. There's like edges on them. I don't know if that's the word. There's obviously edges, but it's hollow in between. So you can see kind of what I mean here. And you don't want to tear that. So especially the first time you're pulling it off, just make sure that you're getting it off straight and not ripping it. And then lay it down carefully. You don't want to throw it askew because it would be easy to just, you know, get that in the wrong position. You want it to kind of fall in its natural position. Now, I do want to do a practice stamp first. So I just want to grab a piece of paper. Try to look at this one here that I had. All right, and I just, because it is a new stamp, I usually try to clean it, but this one's a little bit large, and I think my easiest way, and just to get a good idea of where it's stamping, how it's stamping, will be just to do it on here. All right, so I've got on white. What do I want to do for the stamping? I think I'm actually going to stamp it in Memento. So Memento ink is fade resistant dye ink. So it's a dye. And when we're going to use something like our blends that are alcohol based, we don't want to, or we want an ink that's going to hold up to that other alcohol ink and not create it to smudge or streak or anything like that. And you'll notice here that I'm actually pressing multiple times, even wiping it a little bit. One, because it's a new stamp, but also because this is a felt ink pad. It's not a foam ink pad like our regular ones. That said, the regular ones will be changing. Stampin' Up! Has just announced that all of the ink pads will be switching to the felt pad. So kind of relearning how to ink our stamps up with that is something we're all going to kind of have to figure out, and we will. It's not a problem. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Looks great. I missed a little bit there. So I think I'm going to just try this again. Just again, for the sake that this is a new stamp, and I just want to make sure it's all going to be good. But this is where the Stampin' Positioner is going to be really, really helpful. The large stamp like this, you're going to want to make sure you rub the whole thing in different areas. And the Stampin' Positioner is allowing me to get an even press. When I press down here, it doesn't mean I'm pressing harder than up here. It just means I'm getting all of that to adhere to the paper. So there we go. That's great positioning. So now the trick will be to get this to be where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here, and then I'm just going to, I've got a bit of a tail on this side. I'm going to just find where those edges are and line it up like that. Better pull it off. There's not enough space between my the Glass Mat Studio and the Stampin' Positioner here, so I just slid it over a bit. Okay, that looks good. Cross our fingers. I'm going to put magnets down, and I don't think I have room to put them on that side. I'm starting to wonder if maybe I should have just done it the other way. But you know what? Live and learn. That's how we all learn, right? Okay. So that looks good. I'm going to... So back to using the dye ink and the... I think I'm going to use the Stampin' Blends just to give a little bit of of color to this. And so if I used a water-based ink, it just wouldn't, it would blur my edges. I would lose the crispness of the edges of this jar, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to use this. And if I was to use the ink themselves, I would want to use, oh, I did not too bad. I would use the other regular water-based ink. So if I wanted to use those, then that would work for that. Okay, so I'm going to just clean this off. I'm going to find, I did spray it with our Stamper Mist just to help because it's a new one, but I am going to just take a nice baby wipe here and wipe these off. I'm finding this the easiest way to get the stamp positioner cleaned off. I'm just going to leave that for a second and we will go back to this jar. Okay, so just get out, and I wanted to just use our so I've got Cloud Cover Balmy Blue. Don't know which one I want to do. Just pull up. I thought I had a little extra piece of paper here. Just see what this looks like. That was the dark. This is the light cloud cover, which I kind of think that's what I want. This is the dark balmy blue. Definitely don't want that. Light balmy blue. I think we're going to do the cloud cover. All I want to do is I'm going to take my dark, so the dark cloud cover, and you'll see that we've got a blunt tip and a kind of a painting tip end. All I'm going to do with the dark one is just kind of go over those lines that we have here. I just kind of thought maybe this, we could make it kind of show like it was a bit of a glass canister. I'm just going to kind of come down here like that and in here. And then while that's still wet, I'm going to bring in, actually let's do the painting tip. I think it's quite a bit. Just going to bring in the light one and just kind of drag it around. I don't think I want to get the whole thing, but who knows? I might say we do need to get the whole thing here in a second, but let's see. So with this, you kind of think of that you're kind of pulling the ink, not adding ink. You're layering it and pulling it. And the thing I really like about the alcohol markers, the blends, is we can add, and the adding it actually shadows it rather than the lines. So you'll notice as I'm coloring, there will be some lines where my coloring kind of overlaps. Like, you know, when you've got crayons or pencil crayons, you just have those hash marks that you can't really get rid of. With the alcohol ink, you don't have that much. And you'll notice it kind of, you can kind of see, if I go over it again, where there is a bit of a line, but that will disappear as we go through. So if I just kind of layer, and then I'm going to come back. Oh, I think my puppy dog's looking for me. You hear a loud bang. It's her coming in the door. I have a lovely golden doodle, standard size, and she can open her doors. And she just jumps up and bangs, and in she comes. And I have a feeling that's what she's doing. She's looking for me anyways. Okay, so I've kind of come, and you can see here I've got darker and I've gone to light. So that's what I'm kind of aiming for here with this, is if I kind of just keep going and color it in. And as it's wet, it is darker, and I went outside the lines there, but I think we'll be okay because I'm going to have that dye that's going to go on top. And I want to just kind of make it look like it's that frosted glass is my goal. Otherwise, I would have used a colored cardstock for my card. I'm just going to go a little slower here so I'm not, but I do have that edge there that I wanted to darken. So now I know it kind of looks a bit like a muddled mess right now, but let's wait and see what it looks like when it dries here. Just going to add a little bit extra to these lines. Just for some shading. Okay. So I'm not going to worry about the top because we are going to die cut the top. Before I leave this, it does come through the back, so I'm going to have to do something about that. But I have an idea. And what did we do with the dies? Where did they go? There's the stamps. There's the dies. Okay. So I want the top. We're going to put a topper on here. Oh man, they stick like a... Oh. Rip the paper already. Okay, so I like to take these off and put them on a magnetic sheet. Okay, so this first off is going to fold. So it's basically like a little note card. And I saw somebody kind of do this and put a recipe in there, which I thought that's a cute idea, especially if it's for something like jam. So see, that's going to go there. It's going to top off everything that I didn't color where I went outside the lines. You can see that is starting to fade a little bit. And what do I want to use for that top? I don't want to use any of these really big ones because they're just not going to be what I want. So we're going to look at the B side. This is the kind of the side that could be for any project. It doesn't have to be for this suite. I have seen a lot of people use that, mind you. Speaking of the B side. Maybe that's what we will do. It is pretty generic. It's pretty cute. And it is going to work either way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly cut out a piece here that will work using my little snips. Causing problem. I'm going to go this way. All right. So now we will put this through. I do have my mini stamp cut and emboss machine here. I've somehow picked up my old plate, cutting plate that's falling apart, but I'm going to just put that on there. Try to run it through on an angle, not straight up and down. That will help prevent that die from bowing, and it will make it a little bit easier on your machine. And I need to get the plate out and tire this one because it is just getting, it still works, as you can see, but it is getting pretty difficult to run through. Okay, so got that. And there is a lovely design in there. There is some slicing here that we could put that spoon in. So maybe we'll think of that. That's extra. But it gives it a really nice texture. And that will go on here. Like that. Just like that. Do you know what? I have an idea. I'm going to put my Tombow glue on here. So this is like real-time crafting. I had an idea, but I didn't have it set in stone. I am going to look at the back because the back will be seen. So I want to make sure that it is level. But there we go. And we're going to dress that up with a label and some other things. And I'll probably put one of those ribbons around the top there and make it look really cool. But what I was thinking is let's basically make a little card or bookmark sort of idea that's going to go inside here and pull out. So our card, if we use our Glass Mat Studio, the card is, let's say it's just about 3 5/8. So let's do 3 1/4 because we're going to have to tape down these sides and we want to have lots of room for it to come up. So we're going to come over here. This is the piece that I said I could use for something else, but you know what? We're always going to change things up. That's fine. We're going to need it actually for doing our labels and stuff. So what if we had this and it's going to slide in here like that. So we can put something on the bottom and then we'll slide it in there and it'll just pull out. And I have an idea for that. Okay, so what's our size that we're going to want here for this? Let's look at the back. And again, I think 3 1/4 is a good size. It'll be a little square piece. And it will just be like a note card that's going to sit right inside here. So it's kind of going to go in behind the back and it will pull out and it will have our message on it. I could actually mat it, cut it down a little bit and mat it. What do we think of that? That would give it a little more structure. I like that idea. So this is 3 1/4. So let's take 1/4 off. I think I'm just going to take 1/4 off the bottom, or off the side rather. And then we'll have the top just a little bit longer. So I want it 3 and 3 1/2. Let's try that. How's that going to sit? I think I need my blade changed on that. Okay. So it's going to just add a little bit of different depth there, I think, which will look nice. I think that will be good to stick in there. Okay, so what stamp should we put on all of this? We have You're the Sweetest. Thank you. Just maybe put a quick thank you card. Everybody always needs a thank you. So we'll just stick this on this block here. And again, I just want to give it a good, let's use Secret Sea or Misty Moonlight. Let's actually just go Misty Moonlight and see what that looks like. So thank you. Yeah, I think that will be just fine. Okay, so here we go. We will put, and you know what else we could do here with this? I'm going to line this up on my Glass Mat Studio to get my level as best I can. Okay, so I've got thank you there. And my wet wipe here. Okay. Okay. Put this back. I'm never going to get these back on where I found where they come off. I never do that properly. I don't know how people get that, do that, but not me. I'm wondering about taking this one, this little design, and stamping off. So let's, oh shoot, do a stamp off and then on top, a little bit lighter, or I think we should just do it full strength. Yeah. And let's just do it at the top of our paper. Try to get it straight and centered. I don't know how good that is, but let's say it worked. Okay, and then I'm going to do that at the bottom as well. There we go. Okay. Perfect. Well, it's as good as we're going to get right now. I'm happy with it. Okay. So that is going to be the inside of the card. We're going to put it on this strawberry slush paper. Oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't have done that yet. I'm not going to stick that down. I'm going to just put this over here and leave that for a second. It will stick, and that will be kind of an interesting thing to see how that actually will work. Okay. So what I want to do while I'm thinking of it and while we're kind of in this predicament is let's take, I have some silver foil here. Let's actually do the spoon. And I'm going to put my plate. So with your small, this is the boho mini, you need to make sure that you have your plates kind of offset. So the one plate is sticking out, the middle two plate is kind of back a little bit, and then this plate is going to be sticking out at the end. So there's kind of like an E. That gives it a bit of space to grab it, especially when my plates are so warped like this. It's the only way it would work. But Some people will use the other gray paint and they find that works. Okay, so this is what I was thinking we could have as that pull. So quite often with a card similar to this, where you pull it up, there is a a ribbon. But I thought for this one, let's use, and notice how that glue's starting to dry, but it's still going to stick. So let's just use that spoon there, and that's sticking down in there to be our pull. So when this goes in there, I've got a spoon, and that's going to pull up on our card. I think we look at this. Obviously, we don't need to worry about gluing over here. So we do need to, it's getting late and my voice is saying, I'm done for the day. So I'm going to put some glue down at the bottom and we're going to run some glue down the side here. And I don't want this to be in there when I do that because I don't want it to get on the glue. All right, and I'm just going to stick that down so that can dry. All right, so we've got our inside, we have our outside. We now need to get a bit of a label on there. We'll go back to here. What do we want for a label? Let's see how that's just so sticky. I think this one is sweet. Well, what were we going to put? You're the sweetest. Thank you. Yeah, so the sweetest fit there. Just, you're the sweetest. Ooh, it's going to be close. Maybe this other frilly one. I like the frillies. Yeah, let's do that one. Okay. So again, we're going to use this. I think white on white, yeah. Just to keep it simple tonight. I'm just going to put again on my poor little mini. So you can see, other than the full size die, I am doing most of this, well, all of these, other than the full size one, would work on the mini. And the mini is so handy. If you want to do a lot of embossing, then you need to have the big one. There are some embossing folders that work with the mini, but then they're not covering that much of the card, which you would like them to. For all that. So, you know, that is the downfall to that. If you buy a mini there, and you're really restricted in what you can, embossing folders you can use on that. If you aren't worried about embossing and you just want something to start out with, the minis are a great investment. You will use them. It won't be something that you'll say, I wish I never bought, or because now I had to buy the bigger one, and you will use it. It will sit on the side of your desk and you will reach for it more than your large one. Okay, so let me just double check that is straight. And down we go. You're the sweetest. And then I thought we'll just cut out some of these little flowers out of that strawberry slush that we have here. And okay. Again, these are not going on in the right spot, but it will do for now. So that will go on there. I wanted to just double check. Do I have enough? If I did this ribbon with that, that might look kind of cool. So I could do that. A couple of these flowers. I can almost do the flowers on this. Oh my word, they're stuck. Okay, and the ones that I've taken off aren't sticking back on too well. So I think magnetic sheets work really well. Like I say, I am from Canada and we have a Dollarama, and quite often you can find the magnetic sheets. They're not very big, but they do the trick at Dollarama. That said, I haven't found too many in recent days, but when I do find them, I pick up a bunch. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to do some of these little flowers here, like this. And then I am going to try this. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it or if I'm going to just tie the ribbon around. This here is an awesome thing to have, is this Post-it note tape, because it's not that sticky. Now, when you run it through your die machine, it's stickier than what you think. But because this is just the right fit, I want to just stick that on. And then with this, I think I'm going to just need 3/4 of an inch. Hopefully that wasn't too much, because I still would like to do the bow. So we're going to put this on here like that. I might be overdoing it with this strawberry slush color, but hey, why not give it a try? Oh, don't tell me I just made that white. Oh, that was lucky. Lucky, lucky. All right, so I'm going to just stick this on here like this and use another piece of tape. You can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of at a shot, but I'm just kind of using, like one demonstrator says, using all the real estate you can. Okay, so bring this back in. You can see here what I'm meaning by an E. You want these two out further and the middle one inset, just so it can grip it. And we've been going for how long? Let's see my timing here. I apologize. I'm trying to keep things fairly quick tonight. I usually go longer than I want to. All right, so there's some cute little flowers. I might use another one. You can actually see the little centers here. All right, so I'm just going to stick that there. And this is where the take your pick tool should be used and not your scissors, because of your snips, because, you know, so injuries happen. Don't want to do anything of that sort. Where is my take your pick tool? There it is. Oh, this is very fine. Now I'm remembering some warnings about this. Is that it is very tricky to stick on. because it is so fine. I don't know, my ribbon, my little bow might be just as problematic. This is where I wish, and my goal is to, you know, start doing this live so you guys can help me. I don't want to throw them out yet. I think I might use them. Okay. So I've got this. I'm thinking we'll just stick these little flowers here with some dimensionals. Sorry, took my brain a minute to catch up with that. And then we could put that little bow on there like that. Thoughts? Think that'll work? I think that would be fine. Guess you're really not the clearest. I apologize for that. But I think that will look fine. What I'm wondering with these guys is, what if I took my dark, I have no idea how this is going to work. So let's just stick these guys on here. I do want them to go up. Oh, come on. I want to be the right way up. All right. Just get to take your pick tool out. I'm going to actually use the large size so we can hopefully get them, just have that paper suck that ink in. Cardstock, rather. Okay. Let's see if we can do something with that. So if I take my dimensional, put it there, and then take that and stick it right in the middle. That gives me a dark center, which is what I kind of wanted on that. All right, well, that worked. So let's do this other one. So I'm putting the dimensional there, which leaves sticky there. Then I'm taking the dark center and popping it right back in again. Oh, and you know what? I did that upside down. Oh, well. I think we're okay. Ideally, I'd like to put a third one on there. However, time is running short. I don't want to keep you any later than need be. So we will say that is enough. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my glue, and I should have pulled out the adhesive sheets, which basically you stick on the back of your cardstock before you cut it. And then when you cut it, you cut the adhesive sheet, and then you basically pull it off, and you're basically creating a sticker because it's a double-sided adhesive. And so you're basically making a sticker. And with something fine like this, when your die is going to cut it, it just really helps. Now, keep in mind too that our Tombow glue is very good, and it will dry quite quickly. And as you saw, when it does dry, it's still sticky. So that it's actually supposed to be a little bit repositionable when it's dry. And I put that in the wrong spot. So I'm just going to trim those edges off there, just because they're sticking out. But I don't think that is the end of the world. These aren't the snips that I wanted to use for this. but they did the trick. Okay. And then our bow will go there like that. Okay. I think I'm going to just glue that down straight, because you know what? On a jar, when you do your jam, you put the sticker right to the jar. So we're just going to stick that in the center like that. Now, if you can see the coloring that I did in the background, it still looks kind of molted. It's not perfect, but I wanted that frosted glass sort of look. And now, especially when we have other things there that are deterring your view, taking your view away from what you're looking at, right? It helps. So there we go. We just stick that in a little note card. They pull on that, and it's a little thank you card. So easy. Now, again, when I'm talking and I'm trying to explain things, it takes longer to do. Not the ideal, but you get the picture, and I think it's fun. I'm not sure if we really need any of these gems, because we have these little flowers on here. I think that's enough. Like I say, I would like to put another one there, but these gems are quite sweet, and they could go. Anyway, that is a note card for tonight with the Homemade Sweetness Sweet Collection. And there's a couple other things that I had seen done with this that I want to try. So I'll be busy tomorrow doing that. But really, you know what? That's awesome. It would still fit in an envelope very easily. It would be a good way to, you could just make this into like a pocket that you could stick a gift card in, or even put it on the back. And you could still write on the back if you wanted to. So I think that's just great. I'm happy with that. All right. Thank you for joining me. Again, say hi. Let me know where you're from. Sorry I wasn't on camera tonight, but it was a long night. I actually am sitting here in my nice cozy jammies. So Christmas jammies. But hey, there's the ribbon that matches. Again, take care. God bless. And we will see you soon.